Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Nandana Radhana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Radhana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanajari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astotra Sota Shri Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Rantrachi Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation to speak something about Chaitanya Charitamrita. I see only exalted Vaishnavas here assembled, and I want to ask, please give me your blessings so that I may say something useful and relevant. We are hearing a lot of verses because there is only, it's from text 125. Actually, first of all, we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, explanations of the Atmarama verse. 61 explanations of the Atmarama verse. And we are reading from text 125 to 145, 20 verses. That's a lot, and I was thinking that maybe with your permission I don't bother you with my Sanskrit, so I just read the translation, if that is okay for you. And the last verse, 145, will be on the board and we can chant it together. Okay, so text 125. O great learned devotee, although there are many faults in this material world, there is one good opportunity, the association with devotees. Such association brings about great happiness. Due to this good quality, our strong desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Brahman effulgence has become weakened. This is a quotation from the Hari Bhakti Sudadaya, text 126. By associating with the great saint Narada, the great sages like Shaunaka and others gave up the desire for liberation and engaged in Krishna's devotional service. Text 127. Simply by meeting Krishna or receiving Krishna's special favor, one can give up the desire for liberation. Being attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna, one can engage in his service. 128. In this Dvarakadam, I am being attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is personified spiritual bliss. Simply by seeing him, I am feeling great happiness. Oh, I have wasted so much time trying to become self-realized through impersonal cultivation. This is a cause for lamentation. This verse is also found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.1.34. Text 129. There are many people who are liberated even in this lifetime. Some are liberated by discharging devotional service, and others are liberated through the philosophical speculative process. Text 130. Those who are liberated by devotional service become more and more attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna. Thus they engage in his service. Those who are liberated by the speculative process eventually fall down again due to offensive activity. Text 131. O Lotus Eyed One, those who think they are liberated in this life but are without devotional service to you are of impure intelligence. Avishuddha Buddhaya. Although they accept severe austerities and penances and rise to the spiritual position to impersonal Brahman realization, they fall down again because they neglect to worship your lotus feet. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32. 132. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and is fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita 18:54. 133. Although I was worshipped by those on the path of monism and initiated into self-realization through the yoga system, I am nonetheless forcibly turned into a maidservant by some cunning boy who is always joking with the gopis. This is a verse written by Bilva Mangala Thakur. 134. One who has attained his constitutional position by the strength of devotional service attains a transcendental body, even in this lifetime. Being attracted by the Lord Krishna's transcendental qualities, one fully engages in service at his lotus feet. 135. The living entities and other potencies merge into Mahavishnu as the Lord lies down and winds up, destroys the cosmic manifestation. Liberation means being situated in one's eternal original form, which he attains after giving up the changeable, gross and subtle bodies. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.6. Text 136. By opposing Krishna consciousness, one again becomes conditioned and fearful due to the influence of Maya. By executing devotional service faithfully, one is liberated from Maya. Text 137. When the living entity is attracted by the material energy that is separate from Krishna, he is overpowered by fear. Because he is separated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the material energy, his conception of life is reversed. In other words, instead of being the eternal servant of Krishna, he becomes Krishna's competitor. This is called vipayaya asmritihi. To nullify this mistake, one who is actually learned and advanced worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his spiritual master, worshipful deity, and source of life. He thus worships the Lord by the process of unalloyed devotional service. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37. Very famous verse. Srila Prabhupada quotes it very often. Text 138. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita 7.14. One does not attain liberation without rendering devotional service. Liberation is only attained by devotional service. Text 140. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the only auspicious path. If one gives it up simply for speculative knowledge or the understanding that these living beings are spirit souls and the material world is false, he undergoes a great deal of trouble. He only gains troublesome and inauspicious activities. His actions are like beating a husk that is already devoid of rice. One's labor becomes fruitless. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.4. 141. O lotus-eyed one, those who think they are liberated in this life but are without devotional service to you are of impure intelligence. Although they accept severe austerities and penances and rise to the spiritual position to impersonal Brahman realization, they fall down again because they neglect to worship your lotus feet. You can remember this verse we already read. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32. Just a few verses ago, the same verse. So it must be quite important. Text 142. If one simply maintains an official position in the four varnas and ashramas, but does not worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he falls down from this puffed up position into a hellish condition. 142. This verse is also a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.3. 143. When one is actually liberated by executing devotional service, he always engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. 144. Even a liberated soul merged in the impersonal Brahman effulgence is attracted to the pastimes of Krishna. He thus installs a deity and renders the Lord service. Purport. This is a quotation from Shankaracharya's commentary on the Nishinga Tapani Upanishad. And finally, 145, this verse is on the board. Maybe we can chant it together. Echaya Atmarama Krishna Re Bhajaya. Echaya, it is not the verse? Oh. What is that? 42?
46.
Oh, okay. So, Ejaya Atmarama Krishna Re Bhajaya Pritak Pritak Chakare Iha Apira Artakaya. And the word for word translation, Ejaya. All these six. Atmarama. Transcendentalists. Krishna Re Bhajaya. Render service to Krishna. Pritak Pritak. Separatedly. Ja Kare. In the use of the word Ja. Iha. Here. Apira. Of the word. Api. Artha, meaning. Kaya, says. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. These six kinds of Atmaramas engage in the loving service of Krishna. The varieties of service are indicated by adding Ja, and they also bear the meaning of Api, indeed. Purport. These are six kinds of Atmaramas: the neophyte, sadhaka, student who is absorbed in Brahman realization, Brahmamaya, one who has already attained the Brahman position, Prapta Brahmalaya, one who desires to be liberated, Mumukshu, one who is liberated even in this life, Jivan Mukta, and one who is self-realized, Prapta Svarupa. Aum Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam rupa kadamayam Tatati svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavanishvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Pattanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This is a series of verses which are extremely auspicious, and it's like we are on a bigger pilgrimage, a lifelong pilgrimage. And this pilgrimage doesn't start by taking birth into this body, and it doesn't end by giving up this lump of flesh. It is, in this life, just a chapter, and verses like this from the Chaitanya Charitamrita are like a piece of bread. You know, when we go on a journey, we take some bread with us for proviant, like a nourishment. And these verses nourish the soul. And we can pray to the Supreme, O Lord, I now hear from Maharaj Rai, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and you offer me something which is extremely precious for the rest of eternity. So these verses, especially from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, are very precious for the rest of eternity. If you read Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita in that mood, it's like a great gift on our lifelong journey. And they are nourishment for the soul. They nourish the soul. And some are very famous, because Prabhupada quote them very often, like this verse, Bhayam Dvitya Biniveshata Syat. You know, as soon as we see things separated, this dualistic mentality, fear comes up. Because everything is interrelated with everything else. And as soon as we think in separate terms, everything becomes fearful because of separatedness. The very first layer of education is Sambandha. You might have heard Sambandha. You have Prayojana is the goal, love of God. Like these verses here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, these are all written in Prayojana. All these people here have attained the supreme perfection. And we can hear, when it is always said that we have to engage in devotional service and give up this dualistic path or this merging path, trying to be liberated into the effulgence of God or in the personality of God. So they are written in this Prayojana mood. And Abhideya is the process of Bhakti Yoga, the process of engaging in devotional service. So, if we have a proper foundation, like this Sambandha Kya. Sambandha means the word sam is everything, and bandha sounds like the word bondage in English, right? So everything is bound together, everything is interconnected instead of separate. So with this proper foundation in our understanding, we don't think in terms of dualistic terms, seeing things separated. And in the Bhagavad Gita, this is so genius. The very first verse in the Bhagavad Gita already describes the root cause of the problem. The very first verse, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya, is spoken by Dhritarashtra. And why he is speaking this verse? Because he is fearful. He is fearful of the outcome of the battle. And he says, Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. That means, what did my sons, Mamaka, and the sons of Pandu, assembled on the battlefield, what did they do? Because he sees, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, the Pandavas are the sons of Pandu. And when Pandu died, Dhritarashtra could have said, he's the brother of Pandu. He could have easily said, now you come to me, adopt the sons of Pandu, because you are also of my lineage, family, so you come to me. But no, from the very first day, he separated them. And this caused the Kurukshetra war. This separatedness from Dhritarashtra sets in motion the war, the Kurukshetra war. So he was very fearful, because he knew this is a holy field, Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra, and Krishna is fighting on the side of the Pandavas. So yeah, and if we realize that everything is interconnected with everything else, we are not divided in ourselves, because we are divided beings. And that's why all the wars, like internally we're fighting a war, locally we are fighting a war, nationally we are fighting wars, internationally we are fighting wars, and don't worry, transgalactical war is coming, fighting with other planets. Because we are divided beings. We are seeing things separate, and that causes fear. Yes, all is fragmented, nothing is united. And so that's the root cause of the problem, this separatedness. And what is the solution? Also in the Bhagavad Gita, as we know, every chapter is entitled with yoga. Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, this yoga and that yoga. So reunion, reunitedness, to know that everything is interrelated, and not even to create this reunion, but to become aware that everything is already one, everything is already united. So that's the solution. So Bhagavad Gita is so genius that the root cause is mentioned and the solution is mentioned also, that we are all brothers and sisters. Of course, we might not live with the idea that all the time that we are brothers and sisters. Maybe the other person is not aware of such of this, and so we but if we can see everybody and everything like this, this is the spiritual world. And this Atmarama verse, these Atmaramas, you know, these are self-satisfied people, self-satisfied. Everybody is actually, all these saints are Atmarama. I once, many years ago, I heard a story. It was from, I think, Suhotra Prabhu, Suhotra Swami. And he mentioned that the gopis were with Krishna on one side of the Yamuna. And Krishna told them, on the other side of the Yamuna, there is a great saint, Durvasa Muni, So why you don't go and serve him? So they said, the gopis said, but my dear Krishna, the Yamuna is hindering us. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi. Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai. We cannot cross the Yamuna. And then Krishna says, just go to the Yamuna. I don't know if I get everything correctly from this narration. Go to the Yamuna and you speak to the Yamuna. Please open. Krishna is sending us the best of all brahmacharis. Okay, so they did that. They went to the Yamuna and they said, please open in the name of Krishna, the greatest brahmachari. And the Yamuna opened and they were astonished. And they crossed the Yamuna, and on the other side actually there was this saint, Durvasa Muni. And of course they wanted to render him a service, they wanted to cook for him. And these were thousands and thousands of gopis. And all the gopis cooked for him. And he ate everything. He ate everything. He didn't know no leftovers, you know. And then they wanted to go back to Krishna. And they asked him, oh my dear saint, how can we cross the Yamuna? And Durvasa Muni said to them, you go to the Yamuna and you said, please open in the name of Durvasa Muni, who eats only grass or is living from air. Okay, they did that, and you know, that must be true because the Yamuna opened. They could cross. And on the other side again, they were asking Krishna, but Krishna, how did it come? I mean, we spoke to the Yamuna and obviously this must be right, but how can you be the greatest brahmachari if, you know, with the gopis, rasa dance and all that playing and laughing with the gopis, and how can Durvasa Muni, who ate all our preparations, how can it be true that he only lives from grass? And Krishna said, you know, we are Atmarama. We don't depend on anything. We are self-satisfied. But just to please you, to give you pleasure, we allow you to serve us and to do all this. So, with this intention, with this idea, it's true. They are not, you know, sometimes Krishna is seen as Pantoffelheld, how to say, you know, he is married to 16,000 queens, and it looks like he is completely attached to the women, you know. But no, he's completely detached. Because the nature, the male nature is detachment, and the female nature is attachment. So, but this attachment needs some, you know, we hear about all this devotional service has to come from affection, from love. So because of love, the Atmarama, he takes the role of, he gives, to give pleasure to everybody else. We have to know that Krishna is loving us unconditionally. Unconditionally. But he cannot do that as Brahman or Paramatma, but as Bhagavan. So everything is interconnected. Everything is tied together. As Brahman, we can take a blade of grass. A blade of grass is connected with the center. It is said, nothing moves without the sanction of the Lord. So this blade of grass is, let's say, Aishwarya. It is a part of the inconceivable nature of this world. But that doesn't give rasa, to merge into Brahman or to know that Paramatma is in every heart, in every atom, between every atom. This is all Aishwarya. It is inconceivable. But we need Madhurya on top of that to be able to interact. I don't know, can one follow? It is like in one sense, Goloka Vrindavan has more Aishwarya than Vaikuntha. But this Aishwarya is covered with Madhurya on top of that. Goloka Vrindavan, you have every tree is a Kalpavriksha, every cow is a Kamadhenu, the land is made of Chintamani, Aishwarya, wherever we look. But on top of that, there is Madhurya, the sweetness. Because like when Krishna is lifting Govardhan hill to give shelter to the Vrajabasis, this is clearly Aishwarya. No 7-year-old boy can lift Govardhan hill with the left hand at the small fingertip of the left hand. But Krishna is lifting Govardhan hill, and the Vrajabasis immediately they go to Madhurya, the sweetness. Oh, our Krishna is becoming weak. He must be hungry. Give me that hill. I want to massage your hand. So they completely doesn't see Aishwarya. So if we are able to make that shift, that's why also all these verses where is the inconceivableness of the Lord. These are giving us a foundation. Let's take Krishna as a baby. what is the difference between Krishna as a baby and any other baby? Baby Krishna is very charming. Everybody is attracted on his beauty. But what's the difference? Is there a difference between Krishna as baby and any other baby? Krishna is God. Krishna is God. And on top of that, he's a baby. So you couldn't interact with the godliness. So Krishna is God. This is Aishvarya. It's inconceivable. We cannot grasp it with our intellect. But we can relate to Krishna as a baby. So this is very mystical. In the same way, everything is founded in this Aishvarya mood. That's why it is very important that this Sambandhagya, that we understand who is Krishna. He is God. And he is Atmarama. He doesn't need anything, anybody. He's satisfied in himself, very satisfied. But just to please us and just to give us the chance to love him, because he is loving us already, unconditionally. We don't have to become perfect, that Krishna loves us. We don't have to become anything. He just loves us. But the goal of life is not to be loved by Krishna. The goal of life is to love Krishna. And how to love Krishna? We have to be able to relate to Krishna in this Madhurya. So that's the focus. How to connect, how to be able to have a relationship with Krishna. You know, if we can make that shift, that slowly we forget that Krishna is God. We just forget it. Because we made that shift into Madhurya. All the Brajabasis, they made that shift. For them, Krishna is not God. Krishna is just the most lovable person. So, and all these verses indicate this Madhurya on top. Madhurya is so sweet, is so lovable, full of beauty, full of rasa. But Madhurya couldn't be without Aishvarya. Aishvarya has to be in place. And then Madhurya can happen. And these verses are like some nourishment on our pilgrimage through different lifetimes. You know, often the question is asked, if I start with devotional service in this lifetime, how long will it take to reach Goloka Vrindavan? And in one sense, one answer could be, we are already doing what we are doing. Why the rush? Why we have to rush through? We are not going somewhere. We are doing what we are doing right now, and so it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's just, we are doing here what we are doing there. We are already liberated in that sense, even in this material body. And it's said in the scriptures, few verses, many times, that, we don't need to go somewhere. Also this verse here, I just read from Bilva Mangala Thakur. Although I was worshipped by those on the path of monism and initiated into self-realization, that's Aishwarya, that's, I am liberating myself through my intelligence, through my reading of the scriptures and all that. Through the yoga system, I am nonetheless forcibly turned into a maidservant by some cunning boy who is always joking with the gopis. And we heard a few verses before, we heard from Shukadev Goswami, who was also a monist. We heard of the 4 Kumaras, we have heard of the 9 Yogendras. All these different sages made a shift just by devotional service. Just by forgetting that Krishna is God. Hare Krishna. Maybe there is some comment, some reflection, some question, some criticism.
Thank you for your nice class. I'm wondering how to see this point regarding Aishwarya and Madhurya related to deity worship. Because Srila Jiva Goswami said that we are supposed to worship the deities according to the principle of Aishwarya. So how to see this with Madhurya?
We have on the altar Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shishigonitai, and it can clearly be stated, although they may not look the same, but this is all the same person. This is all the same person. This is one person, Krishna. And this Krishna is coming in different shapes just to give us the opportunity to render service and to develop a relationship. You know, some have their Ishta Devas, the deities, their worshipable deities. But all these personalities, so-called personality, like also Nrsimhadev, Ramchandra, and whatnot, you know, Vamanadev. This is only one person. This is Krishna. And this is Aishwarya. This is inconceivable. But this is this interconnectedness which gives us the opportunity to see everything in non-dual. You know, it protects us from dual thinking, to see everything separate. We have left side separated from the right side. That means Jagannath is separated from Gaurnitai and all that. No. As we realize through this Sambandhakya that everything is interrelated, everything is interconnected, then we can build on top of that through devotional service, through rendering service. You know, if we realize Paramatma in our heart, we have two options. We can just leave it like that. Okay, Paramatma is in our heart, between every atom, in every atom. Or we can start to render service to Paramatma. And Bhagavan gives us the opportunity to serve him and to build a relationship, because he reciprocates. You know, there's a nice example. A mother and her baby, 2-month-old baby. You know, the baby doesn't know there is something called mother. The baby doesn't know even there is something called baby. But the mother loves the baby unconditionally from day one. The baby doesn't have to become anything, doesn't have to become perfect to be loved by the mother or anything. It's just loved by the mother. And with the time, the baby starts to realize, the baby grows, it's not the baby anymore, and he starts to realize, oh, there is somebody called mother. And since years, it takes care of me. It saves my life. It nourishes me. It gives me all I need. You know, the mother doesn't sleep, doesn't eat. Just dedication to the baby. Nothing else. Dedication. And as soon as the baby or the small child starts to realize, oh, there is somebody, naturally he wants to reciprocate that love, right? He got so much from the mother, so he wants to give her something back. So he starts to reciprocate with the mother. And that can be compared to devotional service. You know, we are the babies. We are not aware, first of all, that there is somebody called God or Krishna. We just live in the day, we do our thing. And as soon as we realize there is somebody maintaining us, somebody loving us unconditionally, naturally we want to reciprocate. And that's devotional service. Through deity worship, through whatever we do. And then the love of Krishna becomes a new dimension. Or the love of the mother, as soon as the baby reciprocates, the love takes a new shape because of reciprocation. And in the same way, Krishna, if we start to reciprocate, we start to be aware of Krishna, the love takes a new shape. And then it is a reciprocation. Is that answering? Anything else? So thank you for your kind attention. Please forgive if I made any mistake, if I was offending anyone or something. Rasikacharya Charitamrita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh, Premanande.